Greetings, and Mr. O here for TFT, Tarot for today. Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. But as I said, this is me, Mr. O here with Goth Tarot. It's my weekly look into shadow issues. And of course, we are still working with the concept from our first week in June. And that was Betrayal. So I'll get to that in a moment. First, we're going to do an opening meditation from the Oracle of the Hekatean Path. And I think Hecate, in all her forms or possibilities, it's a good figure to work with for shadow work. Whether you believe in this particular goddess or being, or whether you just understand her as perhaps just an archetype. There's a lot of exploration into Hecate and the Hecatean Path. And I think she's a suitable symbol also for the times we find ourselves in. She's liminal in the crossroads. We're definitely in the crossroads. All right, so I'm going to pull that card now without delay. $16. Guidance. Dataphoros, the torch bearer. Dataphoros, torch bearer. Guidance. When in darkness we lose sight of the path before us, Hecate can shed the light to illuminate our path. The Homeric hymn to Demeter says that Hecate came to Demeter on the 10th day after Persephone disappeared, holding a torch, and so she shines a light into our lives, guiding us through darkness and the unknown. However, the light will only span so far. There must be some sense of mystery, and we must not be completely afraid of the dark or let the unknown hold us back. So onward with Betrayal, and thank you for that. I hope that was pleasing to us. Just briefly, I would say that beyond the shadow work of Betrayal, we cover other things that are pressing shadow, gloomy, emo, goth philosophy or way of looking at life. And we are in dark times almost anywhere in the world, and we do need guidance. All right, I'm going to remind us about betrayal by hopefully finding... So the affirmation for betrayal to keep in mind is to realize that you can trust the outside world. And you know what's interesting was the previous shadow work that we did in May was about fighting the outside world. And maybe sometimes we feel like it's not worth fighting. We're tired of being constantly betrayed. So I'm going to remind us in the supplement what we were working with here. I lock you away in a prison in which other people can only be perceived as bad. so there is no point in trusting them or revealing yourself. You take no risk of honest and authentic sharing, of being moved, impressed, or enchanted. You manipulate out of self-protection, which gives you a feeling of complete power and helps you pacify your narcissistic faults. It may hurt other people, but you tell yourself that they're looking to do the same to you, and you might as well strike first. So this is very telling because some of us are in this mode where we may feel there's nobody on our side, and therefore almost any action we might consider taking is right. And one can see how this literally burbles to the overall world, various actors in politics or religion or celebrityism saying they are the rule of law. We have to all come to a place where we can feel that the rest of the world is not betraying us, that we don't take it that personal. So let's update that shadow work now. And to do that, I'm going to pull a card to update it from the Shadow Work Tarot by Ethereal. So I shall remove this. Well, we'll just move it over here. How are we dealing with this sense of isolating ourselves to protect ourselves from betrayal? What is a better way? Are we achieving a better way to deal with that? And last week, the King of Cups appeared, which I think was a way of saying going out of our way to be able to be kind and associate from that point of view towards others. This is our update. It's the Seven of Wands. And I feel that there's a possibility here that we might still be working with defensive postures. A defensive posture being that we still feel we have to be assertive, possibly angry, possibly willing to still consider it as us against everybody else. And maybe that could even be the reality that we take in. That the sense of betrayal, us against the world, is not totally unfounded in what the world is currently up to right now. And so integration of the shadow is an understanding that you do have to do ultimately what is right for yourself or for those you have to look out for. And that to some degree, the Seven of Wands is a caution. We can't be too quick necessarily to feel that instincts or intuition might have a role here. All right, so now we're going to go into the regular reading. What I talk about here may pertain to the concept of betrayal that we're working on, but it may also point out to some other kind of aspects or side issues. So what I want to look at here is I'm going to use another deck, the Lost Soul Tarot, and I'm going to look at the concept of the dark avatar. What are the aspects of this shadow, whether it's that one, the sense of being betrayed or being more offensive, defensive, offensive? How do we project that aspect, that personality, and is that good? So like I said, I'm using the Lost Soul Tarot for that. That's the cover of the box, the Lost Soul Tarot. It has a stark yet still interesting design that makes me feel it represents avatars, or it could be avatars from our subconscious. So keeping in mind, what is the dark avatar? How do we see this as an aspect of our personality that maybe we're projecting? Sorry about that. When we're dealing. All right, keeping in mind, we are dealing with the dark avatar, the aspect of this shadow that maybe we are projecting in some way. And I am using the Lost Soul Tarot. And it's the reversed King of Cups. And this goes in line because, of course, if we are being defensive / offensive, we may be saying the kid gloves are off, that the kind and benevolent personality we have, we're not there right now. We're sort of projecting our sense of power over. You know, the King of Cups reversed can be more of a malignant, narcissistic kind of personality. Of course, that would involve maybe the idea that this is a collective shadow, that it's not just you, yourself, that's doing this, that it could actually be part of the larger whole. And so we're letting somebody else be the shadow too. And so that's why this is here. This avatar is really ourselves, but we're also taking in part from where it really comes from, wherever that is. All right, so now we're moving to the next card, and that's coming from the Joker Tarot, and this is the Dark Trick. How do we express trickery or distraction? What are the things we're doing to hide or control? It's interesting to keep in mind that our update last week from the Shadow Work Tarot was the King of Cups, but not reversed like the Dark Avatar is. All right, once again, the Dark Trick, what we're using to hide or trick people or others about the situation. And it's the Fool. So it's like the trick indeed. The Fool could be saying, we're not trying to be harmful, or in our own minds we're not, but we're bringing about unexpected change that mostly is benefiting ourselves. And so we may be capitalizing on the more random, episodic, or unexpected aspects of our personality or how we orient in life, interact with others. It hides us from revealing ourselves because we can point to those other things and say, look at that. Look, look. I think that's interesting. Well, now we want to go to the dark horizon, the way that possibly we can better use both of those qualities, integrating them together and or integrating them into our total shadow. So I'm going to use the Crow's Magic Tarot for this one. I think it'll show nicely with the other cards. So this is the idea of how we bring those qualities. The one is the idea of pointing to these distractions and saying, I didn't do them, they were unexpected. And the other one of maybe saying that too allows ourselves to say, I'm not responsible. I'm sorry that was hurtful. That wasn't me, that was something else. You know, and that's the reversed King of Cups. I'm going to move the torchbearer of guidance just a little bit upward there. All right, what is the dark horizon? Reversed Seven of Cups. The dark horizon says we have to pick our battles, maybe. We have to pick what really is the most important thing that we need to be doing right now and not wasting time on a lot of the other issues. And that maybe the things we use to distract or the things that we think we're really fighting for, we have to resolve them in the way that it allows us to really focus on what it is that we should be doing, the choice that we should be making, the way of reality when you think of all the dreams or the fantastical elements that maybe are obscuring all of this. Right? So I'm going to close now with another oracle, the Earth and Bone Oracle. I got that over here. I'm going to try to sum this up a little bit in a way, because after all, we're still processing the sense that it's us against the world, that we can't integrate properly, perhaps because we hate the world. We think the world's against us. The world's betrayed us. And I think the Seven of Wands indicates that we slipped a little bit, or that we're finding that there still are reasons to maybe understand that this is real. And that, like the other cards are showing, at the very end of it, we do have to pick a side, an equation here and deal with it. So I'm going to close with an affirmation shadow work from the Earth and Bone Oracle by Syrian Shadow. I have long used this, and I love it. And I have had this one before. Spectrals. Number 35. Discernment, critical thinking, investigation, insight. So right away it goes with the dark horizon, the reverse Seven of Wands in a way. Looking less emotionally at something and trying to discern what it is we really need at this time to help us understand our shadow issue, help us integrate the idea that we may be in really combative betrayal situations. So here's what else it says. Like a spectral, the illusions of the outer world constantly change and are therefore not real. Everything you once believed about yourself was based on well-intended fiction. Everything in your life is dependent on you. The energy that surrounds you is created by you. Gain control over this energy by embracing the fact that you are not helpless, but that you create your own world. Every lesson and hardship is meant to encourage you to learn, however difficult or joyous. The seemingly physical world is an illusion. We can change everything with a shift in our consciousness. If anyone can do this, why is everyone not doing it? Awareness, acceptance, and intention comes first. For many, this is difficult, and it is hard to overcome since they have been conditioned to feel helpless. You, on the other hand, are connecting to everything. You are the center of your universe. Our physical senses are incapable of comprehending anything that is but logical or linear. You have the ability to shift your mindset and realize how truly powerful you are. It necessitates a paradigm shift in thinking and living with the belief that everything is possible. Believe in yourself as a divine being. When you recognize your own power, you'll notice that like attracts like. Exiting the matrix is very simple. Recognize you are in control. You are the one to set yourself free from deceptive illusions. Affirmation. I am strengthened as I seek the truth of my personal reality. I am the creator of my own reality. I am in control of my reality by how I choose to think. I almost feel like we don't need next week's installment to wrap things up, because that's kind of it in a can. That the sense of betrayal, like many things going on in the world, doesn't have to be our reality, that we can make choices based on what we want as well as what we ascertain for ourselves. And that distracting ourselves or others can only go so far. It may be possible to integrate some of that as we move forward and to feel that we're sharing the unexpected good things that can happen. So this is Oberon. Don't forget to watch our live stream on Thursday night from 7 to 9 p.m., as well as our emotional exchanges, the other reading I do Friday mornings, 7 a.m., and happy hour this week. I believe it's going to be at 10 a.m., but if not, you'll find out. And that's a live show with a happy message for everyone. And then Sunday will be the Banshees Material Matters at 10 and our live stream from 2 to 4 p.m. And don't forget, we're also doing the monthly modality. That's probably coming out later today, because today is the solstice, the day the sun moves into Cancer. Happy birthday, Cancers. And I think there's an unboxing going on. I think there's also an unhappy hour going on. So tune into our other media to check that out. I'm going to take care of everyone.